Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, Living the Savvy Life, which is all about smart spending and looking at your finances from a lifestyle perspective. My name is Melissa Tosetti, and I am the founder of The Savvy Life, and this is my colleague.
I'm Kevin Gibbons, and I'm a VP at The Savvy Life.
And we are shooting this video on April 30th. We have been under a shelter-in-place order due to COVID-19 for the last 6 weeks, and Kevin and I have recently found out that they have extended our shelter-in-place order actually through the end of May.
Yep.
With that, we're actually, I'm very proud of our fellow Bay Area folks. I feel like we're managing this pretty well. I haven't seen homicides personally. Haven't felt too homicidal. How about you?
No, I've been taking a lot of drugs. I'm joking.
Little cocktail here and there can't hurt. Yeah. So a few weeks ago, we produced a video about, I think it was titled something to the effect of 49 things to do while sheltering in place. And the idea of it is that we had seen so many different people with very clever ideas for what they're doing in this time. So instead of enduring this time, which it would be very easy to do, they're actually using this time to get creative, to do things that they normally don't have time to do. Well, since we have another 31 days ahead of us, we thought we would do another round. So we have actually 34 more ideas to present to you on this topic. And how does this relate to smart spending? Well, living a savvy life isn't just about spending your money smart. It's also about spending your time the way you want to spend it, being purposeful around that. And so this subject really is very near and dear to our hearts. And so, Kevin, if you want to introduce idea number one, and then I would love to just expand upon it. I'm so excited about this one.
So this is an idea that we had talked about for a long time, and Melissa finally took the plunge and got both of us involved in, and that is the Masterclass Program, which is a program that you can sign up for. It's incredibly affordable, and Melissa will go into the details on that, but it gives you the opportunity to take classes on a wide variety of subjects from masters in the field. And so the one that is always my favorite is that you can learn how to tell stories by Neil Gaiman. And if you're familiar with Neil Gaiman, a fantastic writer and storyteller, and the opportunity to sit there and listen to him tell you how to tell stories is just wonderful. So, but Melissa has really jumped on this, and she's just been going crazy on this over the past week or so.
I mean, I've been spending a lot of hours on it, and time is not something that I have a lot of spare time. It's one of the reasons why I've waited so long to go ahead and pull the trigger. But I remember when they got Thomas Keller, who is the owner of the French Laundry, which is one of the most famous restaurants in the world. And there's something about Chef Keller, that his presence and presentation, that I just absolutely love. And when they got him teaching cooking, I was like, oh, got to do this. And then and it was just like one instructor after another. And so when the world goes into its great pause and I don't take advantage of this, there's something wrong. And so, yeah, so we signed up for it. So the program they have 80 different instructors, if you're not familiar with it. And it's everything from Steve Martin teaching comedy to Helen Mirren teaching acting, right? So it is the best of the best of the best of. And you're getting these classes, all 80 of them, for $180 for all of them. But if you act, I think it's within a couple more days, you can actually share with a friend. So that's what Kevin and I did. We were very savvy people, humans. And so we actually, we split it. So we ended up getting all of these classes for $90. And I started to run the math because that's what I do. And it ended up being like $7 a month for this. And I've already got my $7 worth. I got my $180 worth. First thing I do, of course, is write in my spending book the list of everybody, because I want to be systematic, of everybody that I wanted to take their classes. And I've just been absolutely blown away. And I'll write in the notes below, I'll write some of my favorites that I've watched so far. And we've had it for, I think, a week.
Yeah. They're really good classes, and they're fairly They're substantial. I don't want to say they're formal, but in some sense they really are. But they're also very substantial. It's not like, oh, a 1 hour lecture. Some of these are, like 10, 12 part classes. I mean, they're real in-depth master classes on the art.
Absolutely. And the ones that I've taken so far all come with a workbook, and the workbook is really in depth. And some of them are like 49, 50 pages worth of information. So it's, I would say that it would be worth it for one, but the fact that you get 80 instructors and they're adding all the time. Oh, and they did one other thing. I swear I should do a commercial for them. Masterclass, if you're listening, I'd be happy to do that for you. But they have started, I don't know if it's every week or every other week, on Wednesday nights, they do a live Q&A with one of the instructors.
Oh, that's nice.
So they did one last night. I'm so bummed I missed it, with the gangster gardener, Ron Finley. And then in 2 weeks, I am going to watch it. It's Sarah Blakely, the inventor of Spanx. She's going to be live for a Q&A, and she's hilarious and so intelligent. So I've gone on for long enough about that. Of course, what am I going to do? I'm going to tell you about another one of my favorite instructors. So actually, this person she's just gone gangbusters on YouTube. Her name, she's known as Yoga with Adrienne. She's got over 6 million followers, and I actually started doing her yoga classes about this time last year. And it's just a little supplemental. I started doing it, well, maybe I'll do one on a Saturday. Then I was doing one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And then I don't teach at my husband's martial arts class, so I was doing it Tuesdays and Thursday nights when I'm not teaching. And she makes yoga very accessible. It's free because it's on YouTube. And again, it's one of those things, if you've had a thought around maybe taking some yoga classes, you've been intimidated by it, I cannot recommend her classes enough. In fact, that's all I do, is talk to everybody about how wonderful her classes are. So you can go and check those out. Yeah. How about the next one, Kevin?
So baking classes, this goes into a lot of different areas of just cooking is becoming incredibly popular for people to do during this time. But you actually had the experience of taking some baking classes, 1 on 2, I guess you'd say, pretty much.
3 on 1 on 3.
1 on 3.
1 on 3. I'm telling you, if I don't come out of this a better person for all this education that I'm getting, there's going to be something very, very wrong. So I've talked about this before. I do love baking. I love cooking in general, but baking especially. It's alchemy, and it's delicious alchemy is what it is. But a friend of a friend is just this phenom baker, and she has been, we've been getting together every other month or so at our friend's house and having these baking sessions. And we've just really been missing that interaction. So we all set up our laptops in our individual kitchens and spent a couple of hours. And she walked us through, this time we made lemon curd, which I could just drink out of the mason jar that it's sitting in my kitchen right now. Lemon curd, we made lemon tarts, and we made scones. And by that afternoon, I had 1 scone and 1 lemon tart, and they were gone. My family just devoured them. But it was a chance to connect with people that I haven't had a chance to see since January. I got to learn a new skill. I got to eat that skill, and it was just lovely. So again, you know what? YouTube is like the greatest gift for sheltering in place right now. There's so much information there.
Well, but I think the other thing that really is key about this is that it wasn't just, oh, I'm going to go on YouTube and find a baker to teach me how to do this. There was a personal connection that you were able to take advantage of and explore.
Right. I want to also mention, everything okay, Kevin?
Yeah, sorry.
We're humans. I not for a second believe that I've got all the ideas. I have a lot of ideas, and I was excited about doing this topic again. But what I did, as I did the last time, is I went on to Facebook and said, help, we need more ideas. What are you guys doing? You know, as most of you are in the same position we're in, where you're having to endure another 30 days. You got kids at home. You've got, like, what are you doing? And my sister-in-law, who, if you recall from the last session, is the one that was doing spontaneous dance parties by herself in her kitchen and singing show tunes, driving her family crazy. She sent this picture, which I took a picture of the picture to share with you. So apparently this is, and hopefully you can see it,
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law and my nephews. So Dylan, the one on top, his school has been sending out different directives to keep the kids engaged, and a human pyramid was one of them. So it's a Tosetti pile is what it is. But I thought, again, clever, unique, they are going to remember that forever. And that is something that I think I love. Again, you want to walk out of this a happier, better person. So that's one thing. And then the chalk art. So we are, my husband is an artist. I'm not an artist. I have tremendous respect for artists. And our friend, Brian Walsh, who actually is an artist, he works for a studio down in Burbank and does, creates monsters for movies and television. He said that he and his two girls, who are about my son's Dante's age, have been doing a lot of chalk art. And I shared, I thought this was very cute. He shared this picture. I don't know if you can see it. So for those of you that have been watching The Mandalorian, the Disney TV show, it's all about that. So that's one of the things that his girls drew, which I thought was pretty impressive. And when we're on our walks, we're seeing a lot of chalk art. How about you guys?
I see that up in my neighborhood as well. When I take my dog for a walk, it's very prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah. They also have been doing a lot of like art in their yard, and then kind of the same thing in their windows. And there's just something, again, I'm trying to get where you can see it.
You can see it.
About walking around the neighborhoods and seeing that, it's like, oh, that's right, it's not just me. we're in this together, a community. So yeah, I love that. That next one, Kevin, do you want to talk about that, or you want me to jump in on that?
I'll talk a little bit about that, and it's the idea of challenge every bill. And one of the things that we talk about a lot in the Savvy Life is if you don't ask, you don't get, quite simply. And so sometimes it's very easy to go and just call up your insurance company and say, hey, can you do anything to lower my rate? Call up the cable company, hey, can you get me on a better plan? All it takes is asking to see if it happens. The worst they can do is say no.
Exactly.
And an associate of Melissa's has made it his goal this year to challenge every bill he has. So he's just going through all of his bills, and with every one of them, he's calling them up and saying, can you do better? So this is something that we're suggesting that you do as well. You have the time, you're sitting at home for a lot of you, and everybody can use a reduction in their bills right now. Start calling up everybody that you have a bill with. Your credit card companies look for a better interest rate, your insurance company, your utilities, cell phone, all those programs, and just ask them, can you do anything better?
Yeah, do one every other day. Pick a company every other day. And the thing about it is that I believe that sometimes people have this thought of, oh, I'm being, I'm not that I'm being cheap, but it feels almost cheap to call and ask for a better rate. And most of the people that I know that are really, really killing it financially are ones that are very mindful of where they're respectful, if you will, of those plugging those particular leaks. Joel is an incredibly successful real estate mogul, if you will, and he and his wife, they've got a plan, and they're young. They're only I think I'm older than Joel is. I'm 51. Joel's, I think, in his late 40s. He's going to retire in 6 years. And so he's on it, and he's thinking about it. And this is one of the directives for this year. Every year he's got a theme. This is directive for this year. So it's, again, it comes back to, we should be doing this all the time, but so often we complain that we don't have the time to do it.
Now you do.
Now you do. Yep. Yeah. So that one's a huge one. So the next one on our list is actually from our friend Craig. In Word, and again, we are so blessed to have so many very, very creative friends that we're surrounded by. And Craig is one of those souls, and he has actually been making a movie his home. And I'm not exactly sure how he's doing it, but I'm so excited to see it when it does come out. So, if you've got some free time, and have some aspirations around that. You know, have fun with it. Who knows? We might be at Sundance 3 years from now watching Craig's movie.
My friend and his family have been making movies. Every year they make a movie. They've been doing this for at least the past 10 years. And so it's an annual occurrence. They plan it out. The kids do all the writing, all the directing, everything like that. They star in it, and they do the movies. And then my friend processes it, and they watch it the next year before they do the next movie. And they kind of build on each other. So the cool thing is that when they started, his daughters were like 6 or 7, and now they're 16, 17.
Oh.
And so you can see every year, you can see the kids growing up. And there's, it's all cousins and such. There's like 17 people in these films. And over time, they've gotten more sophisticated. They've got better stunts. They've gotten longer dialogue and better costumes. And it's really, this is like a lifelong, it is a lifelong project for them. So this is something that's much more elaborate than I think what you're talking about. But still, they took it to that nth degree, and they've been doing that for, you know, like I say, I think at least 10 years. Yeah.
I love that. I'm such a fan of ritual and what's the word for ritual that I'm looking for that's more along the lines of like Dia de los Muertos. This, you know, it's a holiday, but you're doing specific things around that holiday, putting up an altar or whatever that might be. It's just the ritual is the best word I can come up with right now. But that stuff is, to me, that is the enrichment of life.
Yeah, right? It's the traditions.
Traditions.
Cultural family.
I can come up with ritual, but I can come up with traditions. All right, next one, projects around the house. That's from my friend and former client Shauna in Florida. She and her husband Dustin, who just graduated from Integral Medicine school. And they're living it. They've just been killing it on projects around the house. How about you? What does Lita have you doing?
I've talked in the past that we got a new dog at the beginning of the year. Our other dog passed away last year. It took a while for this new puppy to settle in, and she was rather destructive. So I've been going around, following her around for the past several months, cleaning up her messes and putting things back together. And she ate all the wiring off of our backyard sprinkler system. Yep, chewed it right up. So last weekend, actually, I was redoing our sprinkler system and rewiring it, and then in the process, replacing some broken sprinkler heads that Lita had run over when she was mowing the lawn. So
your whole family's destructive.
The whole family's destructive. Yeah, I just follow them all around and clean up their mess. In her defense, I'm the one who's supposed to be mowing the lawn, and she got tired of waiting for me to do it, so I can't really blame her for running up the sprinkler. So I've been doing that. That's what she's been having me do, is just going around and cleaning up after the dog.
Yeah. That's funny. Speaking of destructive dogs, I got tired of complaining that I can't plant zinnias in this one planter area because our dog Spur keeps digging it up. And so, our very sweet but geriatric dog Spur, who keeps digging it up. So Paul and Dante are actually building a little fence. It's like
nice.
$5 worth of wood that they got. And again, she's geriatric, so we just made the fence at her chest level because there's no way
she's not going to get over it. Yeah.
This afternoon, actually, I'm going to go out and I'm going to plant zinnias. So I'm very excited, or I'm going to plant zinnia seeds. So yeah, those projects around the house are, again, we've got the time. I think that there's a steady balance in doing the things that you want to do that you've been procrastinating on and using this time, and doing the things that you know you should do, and just get them off your plate. Just knock them out. All right, next one, art lessons. So like kids all over the United States, my son Dante is doing classes at home. He usually gets done at about 10:30. And then it's just like video games, and we go for a walk and kind of hanging out. And I finally was like, they're not going back to school until August, right? I'm not going to have 5 more months of this. It's not fair to him. And so one of the things that we have been doing is he's been taking art lessons from Paul. Paul's an artist. And so they spend, 15, 20 minutes doing that. He's kids been cooking for a long time, but we're trying to like level that up. But, Paul's going to teach him drumming because Paul happens to be able to, he freaking do everything. It's really frustrating. But it's just that idea of what are you good at? What is something that you actually, again, have the time that you can pass on to, those family members. One of the things, it's funny, this morning I woke up and I was really bemoaning not being able to go visit the Legion of Honor, which in San Francisco, which is absolute favorite museums. And then as I was doing research, looking for more ideas for this conversation, I started to realize, oh yeah, there's museums all over doing virtual tours, free virtual tours.
Yeah, a lot of them are, and they're doing some really fantastic programs with that too. Really exciting.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. First one I'm going to look for, though, is to see if the Legion of Honor is doing that. All right. A fun one that we've been doing in our household way longer than we've been sheltering in place is playing ping pong in our kitchen. So, a long time ago, we got a tabletop ping pong. It's the net that you just set on top of any table. But we didn't really have a place to properly set it up. And so we put it on the floor in the kitchen, which our kitchen is super, super narrow. Tiny. So you play ping pong off the walls, the refrigerator. You have to plug up the sink so it doesn't go down down the drain. But honestly, I had forgotten about playing that because it had been a couple of years since we played it. And then we saw some kids playing badminton, and they kind of set up at like a janky thing like yeah. And we played Sunday night because we're trying to get over the Sunday night blues, right? Which very often happens. So after dinner, at 7 o'clock, we set up ping pong, and the energy in the whole house just went up. Cats didn't know what the heck was going on, but that's okay. So again, something different, keeping it exciting. I talked a little bit about this in the last video about giving, being creative and having some fun. We went and to a couple of friends and had given, dropped off little gifts of plants and things like that on their doorstep, and either let them discover them or sent them a text saying, hey, go check your doorstep. The plants and the artichokes and the lemons, I discovered on my doorstep this morning from my Jana, which was just, I could cry like thinking about it right now, but that idea of like creative giving. Well, today happens to be my mom's birthday, and I can't spend it with her because we're sheltering in place. And so what I did, and I can't get to a store to buy her anything, and I don't like shopping online. So I had some morning glory seeds that I had harvested from last year, and thanks to the internet and Microsoft Word, I created a little seed packet for her, and I put the seeds in there, and I was able to say Melissa and Mom's Garden on it, and I sent that to her, and she texted me instead a thank you instead of calling me, and I know because she was choked up. It's that idea again of there's something about giving that is, especially in this time right now, and having that time to get creative around that. I never would have done that if we were in a normal. I wouldn't have had the time to think about it or the time to necessarily execute it. So, yeah. And you know what? Tomorrow's May Day, May 1st. We're filming this. And we have a couple of friends that we plan on dropping off some May baskets. I don't have a lot of flowers right now, but I've got a lot of herbs. So I've been making herbal bouquets, which is, tasty. All right, what else have we got, Kevin?
Practicing handwriting.
Yeah, that's all me. Again, I'm not an artist. I'm not, that's just, it's not my forte. I have a bit of an unusual situation in that, my husband Paul's been teaching martial arts in my office, but I run the technology. We both teach one class together, and then he teaches one class on his own, but he prefers to have me in the office. He's not as comfortable as I am talking to a little light on a screen, even though he can see his students there. It's still very weird for him. So he asked me just to stay in the room, and in case anything goes wrong with technology. So I'm sitting there for a half an hour, and I'm not good at like not being productive at something. And so I started practicing my handwriting, and then what I did was Dante has all these really cool like picture books, And I just started kind of going through, and I would maybe do a little sketch. Again, they're terrible. I won't show you. But I just, he's got one on Egyptology, one on mythology. And I got a chance to learn a little bit, but just have some fun and doing some things with no judgment. And instead of just sitting there waiting for Paul to get done teaching his class so I could go and do something else. So that's what that's all about. This next one, Kevin, number 14.
So performing regular maintenance, and this is just making use of good time. You have to do maintenance on your car. There are certain things you have to do maintenance on the house. You might as well do it now. You'll be able to support the local economy and the local businesses that need it. Again, practicing proper social distancing and all. The other thing that it lets you do, well, and one of the nice things is that in this time, the wait times, getting appointments and getting the work done, usually is fairly quicker because there's not a lot of people doing it because they're all sheltering in place. The other nice advantage of it is that if you take care of all these necessary tasks now, then when the restrictions get lifted, you can take your time and do the fun stuff. You're not going to be running around trying to take care of all your must-do tasks. You'll take care of those that you can do now so that when you have the time, you can actually go out and do the fun stuff that you haven't been able to do for X number of months. So yeah, just things like getting your car serviced, getting things repaired around the house or repairing things around the house that we talked about that earlier of doing home tasks and things. Our friend Scott just put in an irrigation system at his place that he'd been meaning to do for, I think he said, when I talked to him, he said over a year and a half. I was like, I'm just going to sit down and do it. I've almost got it done. Taking care of those things now will just be beneficial for you, so you don't forget about them, and again, so that you can enjoy yourself when we can.
And that's a key aspect of living a savvy life, is maintaining what you own, especially cars. When we create spending plans for clients, most often we separate the category of auto maintenance and auto repair, because we want people to have that, to know that money, go take care of the car. Don't worry about it. It's part of your plan.
Yeah.
It's key. So that's definitely savvy living right there. I discovered this next one this morning, and I'm so excited about it. For those of you that have kids and are familiar with Mo Willems and this wonderful book, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. My son is 13, and we will never, ever let go of these books. So there's this one, and then there's this one here, Don't Let the Pigeon Stay Up Late. So Mo Willems is this, I follow him on Twitter, I've been following him on Twitter forever. He's just this very fun, clever guy, and through he's the Kennedy Center, he's been doing videos teaching kids how to draw his characters. And so you have little ones at home, or if you're me who's trying to practice your handwriting or do some kind of art, and he's so much fun. He had on his phone, you know how we were trying to do with our streaming when we first were sheltering in place, we had you on a phone or on Don's iPad. So he had Weird Al Yankovic on his iPhone, and he had drawn a little costume for him that he put in front of he's just clever, and he's funny, very, very sweet. So I talk about him specifically, but there's so many people, so many actors and authors that are sharing their information to keep us entertained, trying to share art out there right now. Help me out, Kevin. Read my mind. Jean-Luc Picard. Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart's been reading Shakespeare sonnets on Twitter. Yep. Again, just go out there and look around and find. One of the things Neil Gaiman, who you were talking about earlier, and I'm always afraid I'm mispronouncing his name. Is it Gaiman or Gaiman?
Gaiman.
Gaiman. One of the things, and he also I follow on Twitter because I think he's just a wonderful soul. He's all about, we need art. Yes, we need to eat. Yes, we need to take care of our bills. But we, as humans, we need art. It is very, very important. And that's really what I want to hit home on that particular topic. Yeah. This next one, this is you.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that I do it, but I have a lot of friends who do it. Sometimes I do. And it's I have some friends that are doing makeup challenges. We do a bunch of weird acting and a bunch of stuff. And some some people have very elaborate costumes and very elaborate makeup activities that go along with some of the extracurricular activities that they do. And so one of our friends has started issuing themed makeup challenges to people. It's like, hey, take this palette and go do your makeup with this theme, and then post your pictures, and we'll do a bunch of stuff. You may have seen a lot of the ones, the makeup and the dress challenges, where people will use like makeup brushes and they go in front of the camera, and then it comes back and they change from regular clothes to some some type of themed clothes, and then they throw the makeup brush, somebody catches it, and they do the same thing, and it goes from one to the next.
Oh, fun.
Change that's really neat. I have a friend who is really creative. Some of us are very much nerd geeks, and we play different types of board games where you roll dice to determine what happens. So what she decided to do is she took her makeup palette, assigned numbers to it, and she rolls the dice, and that tells her what color makeup to use on her eyes, how do you do her eyelids. And so she's basically rolling dice to figure out how to construct her makeup. And let me tell you, this woman is so talented. Every time I've seen her do this, it looks stunning. It looks absolutely gorgeous. But that's kind of a neat thing to do. And then she shares that, and everybody gets to see that. One other aspect I'll tell you about is that, so you can do things that are really complicated and really adventurous. Look up an Australian lady named Celeste Barber. And what she does is absolutely brilliant. She takes pictures of fashion and like bath products and fashion shoots. And so there's these gorgeous models that are doing these kind of things that look a little bit ridiculous, but absolutely stunning. And she copies them in her own house. And she's a rather she's a very charming lady. She's a rather pear-shaped middle-aged lady. And so she'll take this picture of this stunning, very svelte model in a there's one that she did, which this is svelte model in a bathing suit with a bunch of grapes, posing seductively and eating the grapes. So here's this rather pear-shaped lady in a one-piece bathing suit drinking out of a bottle of wine. And so what she does is she makes a mockery of these things, and they're easy to do. They're really fun to go watch. But that's something you can do. You can go ahead with your friends and just do almost like a treasure hunt of duplicating some clothing, makeup, art that you've seen, and then doing it at home. People have done them when they've taken famous paintings from around the world and duplicated them, like the girl with the pearl earring, and they do that with household items. Do a lot of really creative stuff like that, and that can really be. Yeah. It can be as fun as you want, and that kind of leads into the next aspect. So we have that thing here. You can be really adventurous, you can be really creative and do all this stuff. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing nothing. You can. Everybody is very excited about learning new things. We let off this presentation talking about their master classes, how we can learn from the experts. That's great. But don't feel that you have to be caught in this trap of keeping up with the activity of your neighbors and the Joneses. There is nothing at all wrong with sitting down, curling up, reading a book, taking a bath, going in the hot tub if you have one, just doing nothing. These are really, really stressful times. There is no reason to add more stress with the idea of like, oh my God, I should be learning 5 new languages and becoming, a master chef, and I should be sewing something that's going to be worn on the fashion coutures next year. No, there's nothing wrong with just sighing, taking a deep breath, and relaxing.
Yep. Not meditating, not just your time. One of the things that I have not talked about at all is that the first week that we were sheltering in place, and I got done. Well, you might remember, I was destroyed. I was so exhausted, getting up at 6 and work, and then teaching martial arts classes, and then having the family all home. And it was that next week that I just thought, I'm going to sleep till 7. Dante does not, I don't have to get Dante up, get to school. I mean, he's really self-sufficient, but I'm there, right? That's part of my day. That's gone. I don't need to do that. And I started sleeping till 7. And even if I go to bed a little bit earlier, it's like my body needs that. And it's incredibly important because too often we're not listening to our bodies. So I almost feel, Kevin, like we should have led with that. And I feel a little guilty that we didn't.
Don't, because there's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with being excited and taking this opportunity to do things. There's nothing wrong with taking this time and not doing things. So it's, it flows either way.
Yeah. So
the next thing is throwing a virtual cocktail party. And this kind of goes along the same idea. We just did this recently. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do it again. You just get on your social media and you can decide how complicated and crazy you want this to be. It can be a bunch of you sitting around in your PJs on some Zoom-like conference network, having drinks and just having discussions. You can get dressed up to the nines, very fancy. You can decorate your house so you go from room to room and it looks all different. You can do this however simple or however complicated you want. It really is just an excuse and kind of a framework for you to get together with your friends and socialize.
Yeah.
And if you don't drink, that's fine. You can do hot chocolate. You can do, again, it's just an excuse to get together with your friends and be together. Yeah.
We did that, I think it was Monday night with friends, and I could just tell the difference in Paul.
Mm-hmm.
He was with some cocktails and
that always helps.
But yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. All right, so the next one is I actually went spelunking in my bookcases, and I've actually come across a couple of books that I have reread. This is a favorite. I actually picked this up at the Da Vinci Museum when we were in Florence. Fantastic book. I really need to reread this every year. This one I probably reread every month or so. This is I talk about this book all the time. So I started picking this up, or I picked it up and started reading excerpts again. This one, I forgot I had. So Grow It, Don't Throw It, Grow It. It's all about how, actually I'm going to put this up again. If you've got little kids at home, this is a fantastic book. If you can get it on Amazon, if you can order it. It's all about this science and gardening with the stuff that you get at the grocery store. Quite frankly, I've got an avocado pit growing into a tree right now. I've got lemon trees. I think I showed last time. I've got multiple versions of this. So this is basil, which is, propagated that'll be another basil plant. I'm actually planting that today. But again, this isn't just about gardening and growing food. This is about teaching little kids where food comes from.
Yeah.
And having fun with it. It's watching something grow, especially right now when everything's compacted, compressed. There's something very soul nurturing about that.
Yeah.
What else we got here, Kevin? Oh, this is yours. This is a good one.
Walking photo shoots. And the idea behind this idea is that with everybody sheltering in place, there's not a lot of traffic, both on foot and vehicle traffic. So if you always wanted to get that great shot of something in your neighborhood and you've never been able to because there are always cars going by or people getting in the way of it, now's the time to do that. You actually can get some really nice shots that. If the way that the lighting is being done at night, in some places they're not lighting the streets as much, so you can get a lot of neat effects that way. So really taking the time to walk when you're walking through your neighborhood and doing your exercise and whatever you're doing, that it's really a great time to go. Take your camera or your cell phone if you don't have a real camera, and just enjoy getting very creative with some of the photo opportunities that you'll have. This is an unusual opportunity. If you in the San Francisco newspapers, they've taken pictures of the beaches in San Francisco, and there's no people there, but the coyotes have come out. You can actually see coyotes and deer and other weird things that you would not expect to see in a fairly urban environment, that the animals are enjoying the nature while we're hiding from it. So go out there and take pictures of them.
Yeah. So this next one is all you too. This came out at a virtual cocktail party.
Yeah, this comes right out of that, actually. And this is the idea. So if you're familiar with the Savvy Life, one of the things that we offer and we recommend on a quarterly basis is to do the pantry challenge. And the pantry challenge is where you say, all right, I'm going to buy fresh milk, fresh cheese, maybe some fresh vegetables, but I'm going to live out of my pantry as completely as I can and depopulate my pantry, turn it over, all right? It allows us to get creative with our cooking. It lets us know what we like to cook with, what we don't like to cook with. If it's been in the pantry for 6 months, maybe we shouldn't buy it again. It also turns over that inventory so that you're actually using that money that you've spent when you bought it. So when we're having this cocktail party, one of our friends has a very elaborate bar, very well-stocked bar. Most of us have fairly well-stocked bars, but one of our friends just has a crazy well-stocked bar.
She's an amazing mixologist.
And she's a very good mixologist. So she said that she's actually doing a bar challenge where they're not going out and buying anything. They're just going through their bar and using all the weird ingredients that they've accumulated over the years.
Yeah.
And so
the party leftovers, the things that people have brought. Yeah.
That's our challenge to you. Go into, if you drink, go through your liquor cabinet, clean out all those bottles that have been sitting there collecting dust forever, and don't just drink them and grimace and swallow it down. Figure out how to make good drinks out of it.
I was going to say, if it's bad, throw the cocktail out.
No, yeah.
Then, and it's not worth what it's going to do to your tomorrow, right? So, be very careful with this one.
But it's, as with any challenge, you want to make sure that if things are past their expiration or spoiled, you don't want to do it. But the idea is to get creative with these ingredients and do something that'll be fun. And then if you just can't think of it, great. Then you know not to buy it again.
Yeah, don't hold on to it. Get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of it. And again, it's the same thing, is that if you don't drink, there are other non-pantry type challenges that you can do with consumables. You know, do you have different kinds of juices, different kinds of sugars? If you're a baker, do you have some weird ingredients that you haven't used before? Again, it's still that same idea of just take what you have in your house, get creative with it, and determine if you want to replace it or not.
Yeah. I don't like IPA beers. If there's leftovers, and I know I'm not going to have another party anytime soon, I'll wash my hair with it. So have some fun.
Yeah. Take the bad vodka and turn it into cleaning solution.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. All right. The next one, Kevin, that one's you too.
I'm getting really busy.
You as well.
Again, this really goes along with the idea of take care of the tasks that are mundane, that maybe aren't very interesting. Get those out of the way now so that when the restrictions are lifted, you can spend time on the fun stuff. No one, it would really be disappointing for myself if I sat at home, didn't do anything, and then the restrictions get lifted and my wife says, Kevin, you really need to get the gutters cleaned before rainy season starts. I'd much rather go out and ride my motorcycle that I've been itching to do for months and months and months. So I'm going to clean the gutters now. Again, it's just take care of those mundane tasks so that when you have the freedom to do things, you can be sure that you're doing things that you annoy, that you enjoy.
Yeah. And speaking of your wife, fun
date night. And a lot of people have talked about having date nights, and you'll see, I've seen articles on them, and I've seen different videos and stuff on setting up really fancy romantic dinners. And if you're fortunate enough to be sheltering in place with your significant other or a loved one, doing these fairly elaborate, get dressed up, have a fancy dinner, all that stuff. I've got another idea for you. Fine, go ahead and do that if you want, but sit down and talk with this person and remember what the two of you did when you were first dating, and then go do that. Try and figure out how to take that aspect and make it part of your date night. When my wife and I were first dating, we spent a lot of time going to flea markets. We really liked doing that. So we can't go to flea markets, they're not having them right now, but we actually make time to go on the computer and start shopping at auction sites, Etsy, eBay, those type of places, and just looking for things that we like. And we don't necessarily buy, because a lot of times when we went flea marketing, we didn't buy anything. We just walked and pointed out, oh, isn't that neat? Do you like that? And what do you think of that? We're doing that on virtually on the computer. And after being married for 30 years, it's still amazing how different our tastes are and how shocked we are that our tastes are so different. She'll find something that she absolutely loves, and I'll say, you know, that is really hideous. And she's completely shocked that I don't love it. So it gives us a chance to have a lot of interaction on that way and remind each other what each of us likes and just spend time together.
Yeah, I love that.
Different way of looking at date night. Date night doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be work. Do things that are easy and that are fun.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, make it simple. Yeah, take that time. So this next one, there's a Chinese YouTuber that has been around for a couple of years now. She lives in the remote areas of middle of China, and she has just exploded internationally. I discovered her for myself maybe about 1.5 years ago, and I confess to, and on the weekends, if I'm starting to feel my energy lull, I will go online and I'll watch one of her 5-minute, 9-minute videos, because it makes me, first of all, feel lazy. But I'm just so inspired by her. So my Mandarin is terrible. Her name is Li Ziki, and I'll put the link to her channel down below. But one of the reasons why I wanted to mention her today is because she has this amazing talent of creating magic out of nothing. So she lives in a rural area, and she'll do a video on finding and growing silkworms to making a mattress, or excuse me, a bedspread for her grandmother with embroidery on it. Like, she takes and unspools the silkworms. I mean, it's she's very famous for building a couch out of bamboo for her grandparents. A lot of cooking stuff, but visually it is one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen. And the fact that this woman is, I think she's in her late 20s, and is so incredibly talented. I feel like these videos need to be put in the Smithsonian somewhere, because they are a snapshot of how to do skills that we are going to lose. I am the granddaughter of a farmer. What I've learned, I'm very lucky in what I've learned, but what I think about what my grandparents went through, what I was taught, and what Dante will never know. Yeah. Because he's missed out on some of those skills. I'm not saying we all need to go to rural China and make bamboo couches, but what I am saying is that there is this wonderful little 5-minute, 9-minute vacation that you can have from your living room. And also, I want her to grow. She's just absolutely beautiful, amazing human being. And speaking of YouTube, so I'm heartbroken because we have so many friends that are performers on a smaller level, but then you've got these performers all over the world. They make their money. Most musicians make their money at their concerts, not on downloads or any of that. That's all supplemental. So that's all been taken away, at least for most of them, through the end of the year. And they're scrambling, and you're seeing them do like trying to figure it out. So one of my family's absolute favorite bands is a band called Clutch, and they tour constantly, and they've basically, to try to do something now, because they're all going crazy, they have started doing just live concerts. They'll do maybe 5 songs, and if you subscribe and that's what I'm looking for, click on notifications, you'll get an email, like I got one today, hey, Clutch is playing live right now on YouTube, and I can go and I can watch them live for free, and it's amazing. And so I've seen a lot of bands are doing that. So from your own living room, you can watch some of your favorite music and just have that experience that you would never have otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of musicians and a lot of performers are doing that. 1, because they're bored out of their minds. 2, because they want to give something to their fan base, and maybe they can make a little bit of money off of advertising and such, and at least and kind of stay relevant, and
keep that connection. Yeah, that's one of the hardest things. Being producers of material, articles, and all of that ourselves, understand that. Yeah. It's easy to get forgotten. Yeah. So this next one, we got a couple of more for you. Going to run a little longer, much longer than we normally do, but I think this is some really good stuff. So I, ironically, I've worked with quite a few clients, actually over 200 clients in Atlanta. And Atlanta is where the CDC is based. And so in my time, I have worked with so many clients that worked for the CDC, that worked for the WHO. So when this is all going on, I just keep thinking about knowing those people that are in the trenches. And there was one couple I worked with. They worked for the CDC in Africa for, I want to say it was like 15 years. And they were in some really rural areas and primitive areas at times. And one of the things that they taught me, it took me a while to pick this habit up. I didn't really pick this habit up until about 6 months ago. But they taught me the value of afternoon tea. And they're Americans, they're not British. But what they said is that they just, no matter what was going on, at 4 o'clock, they would stop and they would they would make their tea, and they'd be very ritualistic about it. So this is my mom's godmother's tea set, and I drink out of it. I don't save it for good
special events. Yeah.
Thank you, for a special event. But that gave them a time, it gave them a pause in their day to look forward to. It gave them a sense of civility. And again, I mean, we're watching what people that work for the CDC are going through right now. Just because we as Americans are going through that right now, in a lot of other areas of the world, it's rough. It is rough. And so it helped them just get through those times. And like I said, I started to adopt this afternoon tea ritual. It's life-changing. And it took me, and Kevin can attest, like I always loved the idea of afternoon tea, but I wanted it to taste like coffee. But I don't like drinking coffee in the afternoon. And I finally found my tea and how I like to drink it and everything. And it's such an enriching thing. So
well, it goes back to something we talked about earlier, which is the traditions and the rituals, and just getting something that provides a little bit of grounding, especially when things are chaotic. It's nice to have, you know, and again, this is very stereotypically and, you know, comically British, the whole idea, the British soldier, you know, drinking tea at 4 o'clock while spears are flying everywhere and other culturally inappropriate actions are happening. But it's very much, you know, having some aspect of normalcy in your life when all around is chaotic is really key to dealing with it.
And on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, not waiting for the weekend, there's something about breaking up the afternoon like that. In France, you're very familiar with France's, my French is worse than my Mandarin, Gautier, the French the afternoon break that kids have that people take, you know, some of it's tea, some of it's just a little snack, but yeah, that same idea. This next one I picked up from a financial advisor that I've done some work for. She posted the pictures of her daughter, put little notes for her mom all over the house. Mom, I love you. You're doing a great job. Just want to let you know how much I love you. And I thought that was so sweet. So I did something for Dante similar. And so he's been playing this pirate ship game, video game. And I keep hearing about this monkey. This monkey's like dressing up in costumes, and this monkey is driving pirate ships. So I have these little pirate postcards, all different kinds, and I just put them, you know, where Dante's going to go and get a glass out of the kitchen. I put one in the refrigerator, and just, again, it wasn't like a big deal or anything. It was just something different, and it made Tuesday a little bit unique. So something simple like that. I talked a little bit already about, you know, treasure hunting around your bookshelf. I forgot about this beautiful book that I picked up at a used bookstore by Frederick Buckeye, he's a very famous hairstylist, and it's a year in style. It's what to do every day, something that you can do to freshen up your look, to enjoy the seasons. Very French, but it's amazing. This book was written 20 years ago, and there's probably 2 pictures in here that I feel like are a little bit dated. Everything else because that classic French style, and it was just a nice reminder, living a savvy life. It's about, you know, being smart on what you're buying, not being trendy. It's huge. What else have we got? Shopping your closet. So a couple of thoughts on this. So we do, in fact, next week, 2 weeks, I'm doing the Savvy Wardrobe webinar for some of our clients. And the idea behind that is simply to toss what isn't working for you in your closet, so you're not having to spelunk through everything to find the things that do work for you every morning. But I feel like, because we're always in a hurry, so often we are only wearing the same things again and again and again because we know that they're going to work for us. They're easy. This is a time to take a couple extra minutes every morning, and even if you're not going to leave your house, wear the dress. Try the dress with a different necklace. Wear the different necklace. Wear the hat, wear the scarf. In other words, give yourself an opportunity while you're at home to test out different outfits and see how you feel at 11 o'clock in the morning. Do you still feel good in it, or are you feeling this is not working? Go change. You're right here.
Yeah, exactly. You can go change. Yeah.
Exactly. And it just gives you a chance. I'll never forget, I hired a stylist to come in. She went through my wardrobe, and I had all these clothes in the back. And she's like, "Why? What about these?" I'm like, "Oh, I never wear this." She's like, "These look fine." But she started putting them together with stuff, and now that they're some of my favorite clothes, right? Or the jewelry. I wore a tenth of my jewelry, and she's like, "Oh yeah, but you can do this and this and this," and it's trial. That's all it is trial. So, and if you watch the RuPaul episode on Masterclass, then you'll feel very free to try all different kinds of things, because what does she say? We're all born naked and the rest is drag. There is some freedom in that thought process, right? It's just clothes. And you've got the safety that your closet's right there, and you can go back and change. So there's powerful in that. Other thing I wanted to mention, again, we have some very creative friends, and there is a woman that I know ancillary. I'm not direct friends with her. We've had conversations before, but I have such admiration for her. Her name is Autumn Adami, and she owns a corsetry shop in San Francisco called Dark Garden. And early on into the shelter in place, she made a comment about, and Autumn is always just dressed impeccably in vintage clothes that are her clothes. That's how she dresses. That is, I can't imagine seeing her anything else. She's not wearing a costume. That's just how she dresses. And she just made a comment about how just because we're sheltering in place, you dress for you. And I'm a very comfortable, I like to be comfortable. I like to look nice, but I like to be comfortable. It's very important to me. But it was that thought process of, you deserve to dress nice for you. And that really, really stuck with me. So that is something that I've been trying to do, is to walk my own talk. And I've been, playing with wearing a dress here on a Tuesday, wearing a dress, wearing a skirt, wearing some bigger chunky necklace, whatever that might be. So I think I've beaten that one to death. What else have we got?
Oh, St. Pancakes Day, which I'm going to let you talk about because that is your thing.
St. Pancakes Day was huge. And what St. Pancakes Day is, it came from an article that was in the San Francisco Chronicle, I think on Saturday. And it almost made me cry. I got choked up reading it because it was about a dad talking about his 7-year-old daughter who's been struggling with shelter in place. And the article opened up with her saying something to the effect of, "I just don't have anything to look forward to." Can you imagine your 7-year-old kid telling you that? And he had even tried for like Easter, he was Zooming in the family and they did an Easter egg hunt, but it just wasn't quite, there was just something missing. And so he goes, "Well, but there's St. Pancakes Day coming up." And she's like, "Well, what's St. Pancakes?" He just made it up in the moment. And I think there actually is a St. Pancakes Day. It might have been like a subliminal or a subconscious memory that he had. But he's like, "Oh yeah, you make these special pancakes on St. Pancakes Day." And I thought, I'm going to do that. So that day we had St. Pancakes Day, and I dressed it up with a strawberry hair and a strawberry nose and chocolate chips, and took a picture of it. And damn it if Dante didn't want St. Pancakes Day the next day and hasn't asked me about it almost every single day since then. So it's that idea of just create a holiday. And so we've got St. Pancakes Day. I've promised myself I would do one made-up holiday a week. Well, tomorrow's not a made-up holiday. Tomorrow's May Day. So I'm going to be doing some cuttings for my garden and dropping little May Day baskets at a couple of friends' houses that live nearby. I don't know what I'm doing the next week. Oh, May 4th. That's right. May the 4th be with you. So we'll be doing something Star Wars, probably Star Wars pancakes. So combining some holidays. Make stuff up. Create ritual. Have some fun. Do nothing. Right? Do nothing, or just do something.
Breaking the routine.
We've got to have something to look forward to. Just a couple more things. We've got, use your lotions and potions. I came across this. My friend Erica gave me this beautiful smelling lavender salve that she got for me in New Mexico, because she knows I grow lavender. I love lavender. And I've had this on my shelf, and I love the look of the bottle, and I keep forgetting to use it. And so I've got it on my desk now because I love the smell of it. So you've got that stuff, right? Don't save it. Now's the time. Start to use it.
Especially if you're stuck at home, you don't have to worry as much about, coworkers getting upset because the smell is too strong or something like that. It's go try it. See what you like.
Yeah. We got just a couple more. One that has been a long-standing event in our house, not just during shelter in place, and that is Nerf gun hide and go seek. So 2 family members will go hide somewhere. The 3rd family member will stand outside and count, and then you go through the house, and it's really scary, calorie burning, and you hunt and you try to find them and shoot them before you get shot yourself, and they're hiding. So it is very, very fun. Some kind of Nerf gun, some kind of hide and go seek tag, stuck in the mud, go get outside, inside, go have some fun, right?
Yep.
All right. One again for my friend Shauna that I just loved was they've actually been going to farms. She's in Florida, and it's funny because I don't think of farms in Florida, but of course they would have.
And Augustine area has some really elaborate farms.
Yeah. So they've been going that and doing that to get out, to get fresh produce, but to support the local farmers, which just speaks to my heart. Yeah. And then the last one, Kevin, do you want me to talk about it? Or do you want to?
I think we should both talk about it because this is really critical. And the last one, so number 34 on our list, is to minimize the news. And I guess I would phrase it a little differently. I'd say meter the news. Mm-hmm. Part of the deal is when this whole thing went down, the whole coronavirus went down, everybody was starved for news. This is scary. This is new. We don't know what's going on. Please tell me. So we were all glued to our various news portals trying to figure out what's been going on. As Melissa said, we're now 6 weeks into the shelter in place. Everybody kind of has an idea of what's going on. They may not know how things are going to end, but they at least know what the situation is. If you're sitting there gobbling up all the news continuously, most of what you're listening to is speculation and ranting and raving and not as much fact. And all it's going to do is wear you down. At this point, we're not saying to shut the news off. There is important information that you need to get, but meter it. Cut it down to where you are getting the information you need, but you're not, for lack of a better word, you're not wallowing in the mud. There's so much mud out there that it can bring you down if you keep spending all your time reading everything, listening to everything. Cut back, enjoy your life, stay tuned in enough so you know what's going on, but don't wallow in it.
Kevin, I've stumbled on some headline words, and of course I can't think of any of them right now, but that I started to realize is not worth clicking on. Experts speculate. It's not that this is a fact kind of headline. It's, hey, this is what it could look like. Unless that's something that you're specifically interested in, just don't do it. And you might also want to consider, instead of every time you switch from one task to another, go and checking the news to see what's going on right now. Maybe you're only checking the news on the hour or twice a day or whatever that might be. It's hard because it's constantly getting updated, and we're trained. It's just the way social media has got us trained to constantly be picking up our phone and looking at it. So we say that because I feel like, again, it's incredibly important, and it probably should have led with that one, like do nothing, because
I think the real key is that, again, we're not saying don't listen to news. You have to know what's going on, but just temper it back so that you're not inundated by it, and it doesn't affect your spirit, because that's what can happen is if you keep going over this and over this, reading the same articles or listening to the same broadcasts multiple times a day, it can just wear you down. Treat the news services, or however you get your news, as an information provider. If you're not getting provided new information, don't absorb it. It doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
So. But then if you do that, and if you take a look at some of these habits, these ideas that we have here, pick the ones that appeal to you, we'll get through this.
Yeah, we will get through it for sure. So with that, we thank you for indulging us in our list. This is very fun. It is something a little bit different, but absolutely totally related to what living a savvy life is all about. So again, I want to thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn more about the work that we do, how we work with clients to create spending plans, so to ensure that their money's going where they want it to go, they can do the fun stuff. You can check us out at thesavvylife.com. That is our website. We're on a good portion of the social medias, including YouTube, right here. And please like and subscribe. Anything else?
Check out our other videos as well.
Oh yes, yeah. We're at a point where we got a lot on there. A lot of really, really good stuff. It's a huge topic. This idea of looking at personal finance from a lifestyle perspective, it's endless. That material coming out of our ears. All right. Anything else, Kevin?
I think that's good.
All right. Stay safe and healthy. Thank you all. Bye.